Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin and Cardano. Cardano continues to climb up here, starting to look really interesting, and it's holding really well, to be fair as well. It seems like the crypto market is frozen. Yeah, all the other cryptos pretty much not moving. Bitcoin here also just moving sideways, within its small range. Nothing exciting happening except Cardano at the moment. The only other one that I saw in the top 100 that does something similar. Well, okay, IOTA is doing fairly well. There was some good news about the European Union that came out a few days ago. And then Mina, which I talked about in the member live stream very recently. You can even see it here on CoinMarketCap that is forming a triangle. Pretty sure without drawing any line, you can see this is a triangle in my view. And there will probably be a breakout, or the breakout maybe already happened. But overall, nothing else is moving like Cardano at the moment, which is really, really good. And Cardano hasn't seen that level for a while. Well, we've been at 160 recently, so we're at a very critical point, and we're going to take a look at the Cardano chart. We start with Bitcoin briefly, but as I said, with Bitcoin, not too much is happening at the moment. In my view, it has completed its wave 5 here, the small wave 5, or larger wave 3. I'm now waiting for Bitcoin to move into this wave 4 target area. Bear in mind, it has already reached the target area. This was a Fibonacci level that needed to be reached by Bitcoin to complete the wave 4. So theoretically, that wave 4, you could call it even complete. So theoretically, it could continue its sell-off down, but ideal target levels for that wave 4 would be higher. So if we draw the fibs here from the beginning of that wave, and I go all the way here to the low of the wave 3. So we start at the wave 2, go all the way to the wave 3. You can see the fib levels here that I've got on the chart in white. And we've got the first one, which was here at pretty much 44K, which, no, 1 second. It's too early in the morning. I just need to readjust that 1 second. Of course, I need to go to the low. There you go. Now it works out. Yeah, well, the first one was still here. It was at around 43.8. It's a 0.214 fib level. 4-way 4 retracement, absolutely possible. Not too likely though. Therefore, I would expect the price still could go to the 0.382 fib level here at 47.1K. That would be the ideal retracement level for a wave 4. And then this scenario could go all the way up to 49.5 before we could then see that final sell-off. If it goes higher, it's not a wave 4 anymore. It would then be a wave B up here. I would stick with the bearish scenario, even in a scenario where we would go into the larger area here. That was my primary scenario from the beginning, but then we dropped lower. Nevertheless, that is still valid. Hasn't been invalidated yet, but my primary expectation would be this scenario. And in the wave 4, do we go once more into that area? I can't tell you. I don't know. The most likely scenario would be actually to go and get attracted by the 0.384 fib level, 0.382 fib level at 47.1K. But if it's actually going to make it, I don't know. At the moment, until Bitcoin drops below 39.5, I wouldn't be too pessimistic here. There is a key support at around 41K, and no, I think it's a bit lower, isn't it? 40.5, I would say. You can see these touch points here. And if it drops below that, then it probably is going to drop below 39.5 or to 39.5. And if it loses 39.5, I would expect the price then to go into its final sell-off of the wave 5, which would be lower, which could even go then very quickly into my target area below 29K. Cardano is what is interesting. I showed you yesterday here on the high level chart that W pattern, which it did back in July, which is mirroring what it did back then. I showed you many times before that this chart here, this wave, this correction that Cardano is doing is pretty much mirroring what it did back then. Of course, this was a wave 1-2, and all we are doing here is another wave 1-2 within that wave 1-2. Well, within the wave 3 now. So you've got your 1-2, started your wave 3, and within that wave 3, you've got your 1-2. Because as per the Elliott Wave method, waves exist within waves. So a wave 3 also consists of 5 waves. Now, it did here what I told you yesterday would be amazing if it could do that, and it moved above 155, and it seems to do the retest. You can see that here very clearly on the chart. It's amazing that we did close above the 50-day moving average. We did close above the 0.786 fib level at 145, and we did close the daily above that descending trend line. Now, all of that is amazing, very important. It hasn't done that in this whole downtrend. You can see that we have X up here. It didn't manage to close the daily above that line, and that is very powerful. That is very important. And look at the volume. You can see the volume even. Yeah, we had on top of that throughout this period here a bullish divergence. We talked about that on this channel as possible reversal signal. And on the MACD, we saw that bullish cross happen, which I made you aware of. And also Cardano broke here out of a descending wedge. We had that as well. We talked about that. So all of that was fantastic. The buy order was triggered at $1.08. There was one more at 125. And everybody who followed me with that buy order is probably very pleased now. You know, I think everybody's happy now that Cardano finally moves up here. And it's basically moved above an area where you could call the imminent downtrend to be finished. Some people would do that because you have broken the downtrending, descending trend line. What I would love to see now is that we make a higher high compared to the previous one here. So you've got that high, the wick, that got all the way up to 160. So I haven't seen that yet. I want to see that. I want to see Cardano break that 160 level. To be fair, it's already a little bit higher, but it found resistance there. Now it found resistance there. That is what we need to break that structure. I don't really like that W pattern down here because the second low is lower than the first one, but to be fair, it did the same thing last time. And if I zoom out once more, you can actually see that it exactly mirrors what it did last time. And when it did that, Cardano, here there was the breakout point of that W pattern, was pretty much at that level here at 145, maybe even 154. That is when it broke out, and you can see that within a few days we made massive gains here. Now these areas, these periods don't take long. Yeah, that is why Cardano the last few times looked a bit boring, because it does move up within a couple of weeks, a few weeks. It moves to new all-time highs and then it consolidates for months. So that is what pisses many people off, but that is why it's so important to time the top. We of course will give our best here on this channel to help with that. Bear in mind, it won't be a straight line up. There will be ups and downs. People will get their nerves right potentially, so be aware of that. But it's obviously too early to talk about a beginning uptrend. Well, it's a beginning uptrend, but it's too early to talk about a potentially invalidated move below $1. You know, all of that is still at play, and the likelihood that it drops once more is, to be honest, not too low, because we came down very, very low. We came down already nearly to the $1 chart, $1 level. The chart here is basically damaged. You know, it's very weak. So it's good to see that Cardano needs to do that desperately. Otherwise, we would have already dropped below $1. Now, more imminently, what is Cardano doing here? I told you yesterday that line is a relevant one, that 155 level, and you can see Cardano move above that and possibly now retesting that line, which is important. Now it has failed so far to move above the 160 line. That is important. That is the previous high. It needs to do that. At the moment, pretty much no surprise that it's retracing a little bit. You've got here on the 4-hour chart, you were overbought. So bear in mind, at some point here, there will be a retracement. What you possibly saw here was maybe then the beginning of a wave 1 from down there, 1, 2, possibly 3, 4, and then you're gonna see your 5. After that, you're gonna see an ABC correction. That is something we need to think about. Back here though, that was all very, very much extended. The first ABC correction, obviously we moved up all the way here. Then we broke out, and you saw here your first ABC correction around the area. So you've got your A, B, C around the area here of around $2. And that is what Cardano could tackle next if it really does it, you know, and if it really moves on from here, it could really deal with that. And that is the key area that I had on the chart anyway, the 181 area, basically the resistance of my target area here. And bear in mind, in that target area, I originally expected the price to turn around. So it's really good that it makes some very strong attempts here to turn around. It did obviously break slightly below the target area, but wasn't there very long, luckily. So it's a really, really good sign. And bear in mind, up here at 181, 182, you've got your 200-day moving average as well. So this is important, and keep in mind as some kind of a level of resistance. Now on the short time frame, because I can't be there everywhere, every hour, but you can draw your trend line here. And we've got an ascending trend line here that you can use to establish when the price might likely find support. Now, this hopefully is going to hold. If it doesn't hold, we might see an ABC correction play out. At the moment, it is what it's doing here. It's doing a pullback to a trend line. And we can see that the retracements are starting to get larger. So you can see that the RSI is coming down a little bit. And this is even a bearish divergence. So while you see prices go up, yeah, you see that higher highs on the price chart, but you can actually see the RSI going down. Essentially, it's forming some sort of a ascending wedge, which you could call a bit of a bearish pattern on the higher, the higher level view here. So a bearish divergence means lower highs on the RSI, which means the momentum is slowing down. Could be a sign of a beginning of a correction, so keeping that in mind. But for me, the potential now is just too large. I personally wouldn't take any profits now, taking comparatively small gains for what could be coming for Cardano, knowing that, yeah, it could drop from here, but I'm just happy to hold here through. That's my strategy for Cardano, because the all-time high that could be coming is just promising much higher levels. And Cardano is now at a breakout point here. Not saying it will break out, but it's an important decision point here. You can see that we came up here, forming a channel here. You could maybe even see a small descending wedge in here, a small one, out of which it could break out now that it hit the main ascending trend line. So there will be something. If it breaks here through it, then it's probably going to retest here this descending trend line, where the support is now at 153. So I'll definitely keep you updated today about Cardano. I think the chances are quite high it could continue to move up, especially as it's broken above that descending trend line here. And especially as on the weekly time frame, it is so low still, it's far away from being overbought. And the MACD on the weekly has only just turned around. Now probably if this continuing, you're going to get your bullish crossover. And the last few times we had a bullish crossover, it took us to new all-time highs for Cardano. Last thing, ADA BTC chart looking amazing. Yeah, I can't stress that enough. It's looking amazing. And it's doing what we've been talking about for so long, that a reversal here will be coming and Cardano will outperform Bitcoin here. And it's starting. And this is reminding me so much of the last time Cardano went all the way to the all-time high. Yeah, so this is huge. This pump is huge. It's now reached its 200-day moving average on the ADA BTC, and therefore finding some resistance here at the moment. All right, hopefully you liked the update about Bitcoin and Cardano. If you did, please smash the like button and subscribe. And if you really like the content, maybe you want to join as a channel member, get access to Discord, Telegram, and live streams. And you can do that by checking out my website. You can find a link in the description, or you can even join directly here on YouTube. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.